Welcome to another video where we will check the deployment method for vCenter Server in Home Lab. Our previous 2 attempts of deploying vCenter Server by running installer or importing OVA has failed. Let's eject the VCSA ISO. Do we have another method to successfully install a vCenter Server? After doing some online research, found an article wrote by William Lamb. Thanks to William Lamb for writing this article and help many like us with a solution to deploy vCenter in Workstation or Fusion. I am on my Station 1, which is a Windows machine. Let's open a command prompt as administrator. In the next step we will use a zip utility like WinRAR to extract the ISO. You can use any utility as long as we have the ISO unzipped to a folder. This will take about 2 or 3 minutes to extract the ISO. The same content that we have in the ISO is not available in the extracted folder. Let's switch back to our command prompt. And we will use some basic commands to change the working directory, delete file, etc. We used the cd command and changed our working directory to the extracted VSCA. Inside the VCSA folder, we have a utility called ovtool which we will be using to convert the OVA to OV. We do not need to change the working directory to ovtool folder. We can instead run it from VCSA folder. Let's first check the absolute path to the ovtool application. It is /vexa/ovtool/win32. Now let's write the command while our working directory is vexa. ovtool/win32/ovtool.exe, name of the OVA file, name of the OVA. Note, in the second parameter replace the extension from .ova to .ov. The conversion process will begin and it will take about 3 or 4 minutes. Notice in the background inside VCSA folder, new files are getting generated. The conversion is complete. There is a MF or manifest file created as a part of this conversion. We will delete this file. Use del command followed by the file name to delete it. Next, find the OVF file, which is least in size, 197 KB, as we can see on the screen. We have to edit a parameter of this file. You can use a text editor of your choice and edit the file. I am going to use Windows Notepad to edit the file. Once the file is open, search for the parameter questinfo.sys.upgrade.import.directory. Once you locate the parameter, modify and set the value to true. Of user configurable equals true. Once you set the value to true, save the file. Now we are all set to try and build our vCenter server. Switch back to VMware Workstation and we will use the Open a Virtual Machine option. We will locate the OV file in the extracted folder. Looks good, let's accept the EULA. We will give a suitable name to the vCenter server. Click Next. We will again select Tiny as our deployment option for minimum vCPU, memory and storage space. Click Next. We will key in IPv4 as value for IP address family, and DHCP as networking mode to automatic IP assignment. We will set an SSO password. In the next step we will set the root password for the appliance. The rest of the settings we will keep as default and proceed with importing the OV. The OV import will take a few minutes to complete. Import is successful and vCenter server will automatically power on. Recall in our previous video when we deploy the OVA, it did the same thing. The VM will reboot twice. Let's take a look at the VM settings again. Notice every settings is same as our previous deployment, such as network, processor, memory, etc. Also note the virtual disk utilization, it is thin provisioned based on current size, which is 2.1 GB. Close the VM settings. Looks like deployment is complete and we can see the DC UI. Let's wait for the IP to be assigned. We have an IP assigned by the DHCP server. Open a browser on Station 1, and we will do the same exercise, that is use the assigned IP address followed by the port number 5480. We will accept the security warning for certificate and proceed. We are back at the root password prompt which failed in our previous deployment with error. Unable to authenticate user. Let's key in the root password. Great, our deployment of vCenter server looks promising this time. We have moved to stage 1 of our vCenter deployment. This will take some time to complete stage 1. In the next video we will see what's in stage 2 of deployment.